The final product of this video is a Godot Autotile map that allows one to easily draw two-dimensional water into the scene. Unlike a regular tile map, an Autotile map automatically chooses the correct tile for each cell inside the tile map, so every tile blends correctly with those around it. We start with an existing Godot project. This project already has a main scene with a regular tile map added. Watch the basic setup video linked in the top right and in the description if you need help getting your project into the state shown. An Autotile map is created by adding a regular tile map to the scene. Add a tile map and name it Water. In the properties on the right, add a tile set. Set the cell size to 16 by 16. To create an Autotile map, it's best to start from a template image. Search Godot Autotiles in a web browser. Click the Using Tile Maps link. Scroll down the page. Right-click and select Save Image As. Save the image just outside the folder that contains your Godot file. We won't need access to this image from inside our Godot project. Launch a pixel editor. I'll use Sprite in this video. Observe that tiles in the template image are 64 by 64. We want 16 by 16 tiles. Select Sprite, click Sprite Size, divide the width by 4 and the height will be automatically adjusted. Observe that tiles in the image are now 16 by 16. Clean up the image before working with it. Create a new layer. Copy the contents of the background layer to the new layer. Delete the background layer. Save the file as a PNG called Autotiles inside the Godot project folder. Switch back to Godot. Click the Autotiles image. Click Import. Uncheck Filter and click Re-import to prevent the image from being rendered blurry. With the water tile map selected, click on the tile set in the tile map properties. In the bottom left, click the plus button. Select the template image. Use the plus sign to make the image bigger. Click New Autotile. Click Region. Click and drag to select the entire tile map image. In Snap Options, ensure step is 16 by 16. In Selected Tile, choose 3 by 3 minimal and make sure subtile size is 16 by 16. Click Bit Mask. Paint the red bit mask over all areas in the image that are pink. Select the water tile map in the scene tree and observe that we can now paint autotiles. Every time a tile is drawn, the correct tile from the tile map is selected automatically. Now we just have to draw some more interesting tiles to complete the map. Gaps exist between the tiles right now only because we have gaps between the tiles in our image file. Open Sprite. Select Sprite, Color Mode, RGB Color. Create a new image so we can copy the default colors. Paste the colors into our tile map image. Double-click the layer and name it Ref. Right-click, create a new layer and drag it to the bottom. Name the layer Background. Press G to switch to the Paint Bucket tool. Fill the background layer with white. Create a new layer called Tiles. Select View, Grid, Grid Settings. Click OK to show a 16 by 16 grid. This will help us see where tiles begin and end while we draw. Select the Ref layer. Use the magic wand to select all the pink tiles. Select the Tiles layer. Change to a blue color. Change to the Paint Bucket tool by pressing G. Uncheck Contiguous mode for the paint bucket. Click the pink tiles to turn them blue. Switch to Godot. Observe that the tiles are blue. Open Sprite. The tile in the bottom left represents what a single tile will look like when no other tiles are around it. Switch to Godot and draw a single tile on the tile map. Switch back to Sprite and modify the tile to look like a square pool of water. Draw a thin border around the water and add some shading at the top, so the water looks like we're viewing it from an angle and that it has some depth. Preview the game and observe that single tiles now render correctly. Create a vertical line of tiles and observe which tiles get chosen from our image. In Sprite, find the tiles that look the same as the ones that appear in Godot. To illustrate better, in a new layer, I'll draw a small grid. This grid has 9 areas or bits that can be on or off. Recall that we painted all blue areas, which were formerly pink, with a bit mask in the Godot tile map node. So Godot has information about which bits are on and which are off. Godot uses this bit information to choose the correct tile when we place tiles in our tile map. The tile I've drawn a grid over has its center bit set, which indicates that this tile should be used. If the center bit is not set, Godot will ignore the tile. One tile in our image has the center bit off. This tile is ignored and will never show up in our tile map. The bottom center bit is set, but no other bits are set. This means Godot will use this tile when there is a tile directly below it in the tile map and no other adjacent tiles. Modify the tile in our image to look like a long rectangle of water using the same shading as we did in our first tile. Return to Godot and observe that we can now draw arbitrarily long pools of water and the correct tiles are chosen. Open Sprite. Examine this more complex tile that has 5 bits set. This tile will be chosen when there are 4 adjacent tiles in the tile map and no diagonally adjacent tiles. Surround a single tile with 4 adjacent tiles in Godot and observe that the correct tile is chosen from our image. From experience, I know what this tile should look like, but it may help to start with a solid blue square and use trial and error to make the tile look visually correct if you're doing this for the first time. Identify the tiles on the left and right of the center tile. In Sprite, fill in those tiles so that they look correct. These tiles are mirror versions of each other, so once we create one of the tiles, we can flip it and use it as the other. Water tiles in certain arrangements now look nice, but there are many tiles that we have not gotten to yet. Fill in the tile that has only left and right neighbors. Now we can draw horizontal and vertical strips of water and plus sign shaped pools. Observe that placing a tile on the side of a vertical strip requires a tile that looks like this to be filled in. Find that tile in Sprite. There's another tile in our map that is a mirror version of this tile. Fill those tiles in. There's 2 more tiles that are mirror versions of each other. Flip one of the tiles and use it to fill in 2 more. Now we've filled in the first third of our tile map. Let's finish the last 2 tiles. The tiles in the rest of our image follow the same bitmask rules. Examine another tile. This grid I've drawn shows the conditions under which this tile will be chosen. It has a neighbor directly above it, one to the right, one directly below, one to the left, and one diagonally to the top left. Let's place tiles in Godot to get this tile to appear. I know what this tile should look like, but it may help to start with a solid blue square and use trial and error to make the tile look visually correct if you're doing this for the first time. Make some of the other tiles appear in Godot by drawing the correct patterns. Here I'm looking at different tiles and drawing to the tile map in Godot to make them appear. With the remainder of the space on the right side, I'll draw a complex pattern which should fill in as we draw new tiles. I'll fill in a few more tiles right now and then skip ahead. If you'd like to see every tile get filled in, watch the last 3 minutes of this video. With all the tiles filled in, we now have a complete Autotile map. Let's render some text into our game, which is unrelated to Autotile maps, but still interesting to know how to do. Create a label node. Set the text to Autotiles. Resize the node so it fills the center of the tile map. Center the text vertically and horizontally. Search for and download Varela Round on Google Fonts. Extract the font file and copy it into our Godot project. With the label node selected, click Custom Fonts, choose Dynamic Font, click Dynamic Font, and load the font data that we just downloaded. Under Font Settings, set the size to 42. Right-click Label and select Duplicate. Select the duplicate label. Under Visibility, set the modulate color to black and the alpha to half. With the label selected, select the Move tool using the icon at the top of the scene view. Shift the duplicate label by a few pixels right and down to create a shadow effect. Preview the game to see the final product. Check out the description for links to more videos. Continue watching to see the footage of how every tile in the template should be filled in.